Why does the world's wealth seem so unevenly distributed? This is a question that stirs in the minds of many as we observe the stark contrast between the world's richest 1% and the rest of the population. Welcome to Wealth Creation, the platform that changes your mindset about wealth and teaches you how to generate your own. Let's paint a picture. Imagine a world where the vast majority of wealth is concentrated in the hands of an incredibly small group of individuals. This isn't a dystopian fiction, but the reality we live in today. The richest 1% of the world's population holds nearly half of the world's total wealth. But here's the intriguing part. These ultra-rich individuals don't rake in enormous salaries like one might expect. In fact, their earnings from salaries, bonuses, and short-term contracts, which we'll refer to as active income, often pale in comparison to that of top-tier athletes, movie stars, or even successful corporate executives. So how does the average person make money? Most people earn their living through active income. They trade their time and skills for a paycheck. Whether it's a 9-to-5 job, a freelance gig, or a small business, the revenue generated is typically proportional to the effort put in. It's a linear relationship. More work results in more income. However, when we shift our gaze towards the ultra-rich, this linear relationship doesn't hold. Their wealth isn't a direct result of their personal toil. Instead, it's a byproduct of a different kind of income. Passive income. This includes earnings from investments, dividends, interest, royalties, and rents. It's money that works for them, even when they're not actively working. This passive income, coupled with other wealth-amplifying mechanisms, forms the foundation of their colossal fortunes. These mechanisms, often elusive to the average person, are what we'll be uncovering in the following segments. So, if the ultra-rich aren't drawing massive salaries, then where does their wealth come from? Stay tuned as we delve into the fascinating world of wealth creation beyond the paycheck. The secret to the ultra-rich's wealth lies not in their salaries but in their assets. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, let's dissect it. When we think of the ultra-rich, we often imagine massive paychecks and lavish lifestyles. However, the true source of their wealth is far beyond the confines of a monthly salary. It's in ownership. Yes, you heard it right. Assets such as stocks, real estate, businesses, and more. These are not just pieces of paper or physical properties. They are income-generating machines that work round the clock, even when the ultra-rich are sleeping. Let's dig a little deeper. When the ultra-rich invest in stocks, they're buying a piece of a company. As the company grows and profits, so does the value of their stocks. In the process, they earn dividends and can sell the stocks at a higher price later on. That's passive income, money that flows in without requiring their active involvement. Real estate, another favorite asset class of the ultra-rich, offers similar benefits. Rental income from properties, appreciation over time, and tax advantages are just a few perks that make real estate an attractive investment. Then there's business ownership. Owning a business or a part of it allows the ultra-rich to earn a share of the profits. And the best part, they don't necessarily have to be involved in the day-to-day operations. Now, contrast this with the average person. Most of us rely on a salary for income. We trade our time for money. When we stop working, the money stops coming in. We are in the race, but we're running on a different track. The ultra-rich, on the other hand, have figured out how to make money work for them. Their assets keep generating income, regardless of whether they're working, vacationing, or sleeping. They understand the power of assets and leverage it to create and sustain wealth. In other words, the ultra-rich are playing a different financial game than the rest of us. They're not just earning money, they're building wealth. And that, my friends, makes all the difference. One of the major strategies of the ultra-rich is leveraging the power of compound interest. Now, what exactly does this mean? Well, to understand it, we first need to break down the concept of compound interest. So imagine a snowball rolling down a hill. As it rolls, it gathers more and more snow, growing larger and larger. This is essentially how compound interest works. It's the process where the interest you earn on your initial investment, referred to as the principal, is reinvested and in turn, earns its own interest. The result? Your wealth snowballs over time. To put this into perspective, let's say you invest $1,000 with an annual interest rate of 5%. At the end of the first year, you'd have an extra $50 from interest. Now, if you leave that money in your account, the next year, you'll earn interest not just on your initial $1,000, but also on that additional $50. That's the magic of compound interest. Now, You might be wondering, how does this relate to the ultra-rich? Well, the ultra-rich understand this concept and use it to their advantage. They invest their wealth in assets that generate returns over time. These returns are then reinvested, earning even more returns. It's a cycle that, if maintained, can significantly increase one's wealth. But it's important to remember that compound interest isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a long-term strategy. It requires patience, discipline, and most importantly, time. The longer you allow your investments to compound, the greater the potential returns. However, the power of compound interest isn't exclusive to the ultra-rich. Anyone can harness its power. It starts with saving a portion of your income and investing it wisely. Over time, this can lead to significant growth in your wealth. So, it's not just about how much money you make, but also about how you use it. And the ultra-rich use it wisely, leveraging the power of compound interest to grow their assets exponentially over time. Another major advantage that the ultra-rich have is their ability to minimize taxes. Let's delve deeper into this. Now, it's not that the ultra-rich have a secret tax code or anything. Instead, they simply understand the tax system and use it to their advantage. And why wouldn't they? After all, the more money you keep, the more you can invest and grow your wealth. One common strategy employed is investing in tax-free bonds. Now, this might sound like an exclusive club, but it's not. Anyone can purchase these bonds. The thing is, the returns on these bonds might not seem very attractive to the average Joe. But for the ultra-rich, the tax benefits they provide can be substantial. In simple terms, the interest earned on these bonds is not subject to federal taxes, and in some cases, state and local taxes as well. So, while the interest rates might seem low, the after-tax returns can be quite appealing, especially for those in the highest tax brackets. Then there are tax deductions. This is another area where the ultra-rich can really make the system work for them. You see, tax deductions reduce your taxable income, and the more deductions you have, the less income tax you pay. Now, the ultra-rich have the means to make large charitable donations, invest in real estate, or incur significant business expenses, all of which can lead to sizable tax deductions. They also have the resources to hire top-notch tax advisors who can help them find and exploit these deductions. So, you see, the ultra-rich aren't necessarily playing a different game. They're just playing the same game differently. They understand the rules and they use them to their advantage. And the key takeaway here is that these strategies aren't exclusive to the ultra-rich. Anyone can use them. It's just a matter of understanding how the system works and making it work for you. Again, it's not about the size of the salary, but about the strategies used to preserve and grow wealth. At the end of the day, the real difference between the ultra-rich and the average person is knowledge. Let that sink in for a moment. It's not just about having money, it's about knowing what to do with it. The ultra-rich have mastered the art of money management, and this is where financial knowledge comes into play. Financial education is not just about learning how to balance a checkbook or understanding your tax returns. It's about comprehending how money works in the world, how to make it grow, and how to protect it. It's about understanding the difference between assets and liabilities, knowing the power of compound interest, and appreciating the value of a well-diversified portfolio. Now, you might be thinking, well, that sounds complicated, but that's the beauty of financial knowledge. It's not exclusive to the ultra-rich. It's available for anyone willing to learn. And with the internet, it's never been easier to educate yourself about finance. There are countless resources, courses, books, and podcasts out there just waiting to be explored. So why is financial education so important? Because it empowers you. It gives you the tools to take control of your money, to make informed decisions about your finances, and to plan for the future. It can help you break the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck and start building wealth for yourself and your family. Imagine what you could do with the power of financial knowledge. You could start investing, even with a small amount of money. You could buy a home, not just as a place to live, but as a long-term investment. You could start planning for retirement, knowing that you have a strategy in place to ensure your financial security. The ultra-rich didn't get where they are by accident. They got there by understanding the rules of the game. And the good news is, those rules aren't a secret. They're out there, waiting to be learned. So start learning, start understanding, start using your money more effectively. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how much money you make, but how much you keep, how hard it works for you, and how many generations you keep it for. Remember, the key to wealth is not in earning a higher salary, but in using money more effectively. If you liked this video, Kindly give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and share it with family and friends who are on the journey to financial freedom.